So it's only a bit if you say it with a New Zealand accent. Otherwise, it's a bot. Okay. Oh, still not focusing again. Focusing again. There you go. Right. Okay. Just so many lists of things that I need to do. Oh, I'm so tired. I need to make like a grid, basically, like a 3D location grid, basically. So there's like a few features in here that I can use. So no, where are we? So first of all, we need to remember everything. So actually, we're gonna so on tick, right? So on tick, we're gonna cast to VP first person character. Okay, thank you, Karen. Love you. Bye bye. Love you. Bye bye. Look, have one of these. Oh, they'll trigger at the same time every time. So I need to change that as well. Okay, that's fine. Okay. What are we doing? Right, so cast on like begin overlap. So a few things that you need to figure out. A few things that we're going to figure out. Where are we? Ring calculation. Cleared. Cleared. That's cleared. That's cleared. And that's cleared. Yeah, everything's cleared. Cool. All right. So here's what we're doing. We have a grid of cubes. Snap to vector position on grid 1000. So that one. And then we have so each grid, let me see. Is 1000 by 1000 by 1000. So like if you like walk around our environment. Oh, don't like it? What do you like? Very, very slow. Very slow. Did not like that at all. Nothing on my PC like that. Hi Val, how are you? Hold on, one sec. Oh my god. You never guess what just arrived. Karen's just gone as well. Look what just arrived. Hold on. Standing in the corner, Blair Witch style. Right, hold on. Something awesome just arrived. Waiting for ages for this. Waiting for ages for this to come out. Your new Apple TV 4K. Yay. Because, like, frankly, our current TV setup, like our current lounge setup, is fucking based on the Xbox. And it's a fucking disaster because none of the applications work. Apple TV 4K, the new one. So the one that's cheaper than the old one with the upgraded processor and more space. That's it. Got a better CPU than my phone. It's got a better CPU than my phone. Says it all, really, doesn't it? Metal. Actually, it's a metal. It's like an actual metal remote as well. Yeah, so it can control Siri and everything like that. Yeah, it's like an Apple, like, yeah. So it just, you can run all your apps on it and kind of, yeah. It's got built-in what do you call it? Casting, like AirPlay. It's got built-in AirPlay to it as well. Yeah. So I've been using the Xbox to play stuff, but the Xbox apps are a bit of a disaster because I don't think anyone uses them very much, so no one maintains them. So half of the stuff doesn't work, and like, so for example, the Amazon TV app, like, is supposed to have a bunch of features that aren't in the Xbox version. So you can't skip the intro or anything like that. Yeah, but a whole bunch of media programs will now work. It can run Xbox Cloud Gaming too. So, yeah, nice. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good to set up and finally not have to fucking do that. Like, not have to fuck around. Like, not have to worry about whether or not something's going to crash halfway through. Like, actually playing my fucking movies. Go. Alright. Still gotta figure out the lights and stuff as well. Like, because we have I have a Hue light strip where we have Hue bulbs in the living room. And I have a Raspberry Pi that's running a program called Hyperion. And Hyperion, like, is hooked up to the Xbox right now through a capture card. And then the Raspberry Pi controls the lights that are on the screen. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work with two devices, but we'll see. Might have to get a splitter. But what was happening here? Oh, this was telling me that it didn't want to work, but no, it is working. Okay. Anyone know what I'm doing today? Because I don't. Here you go. All right, I created a 2-level thing here, right? Oh, no, I'm out of the. Okay, so it's still counting down. So I created a 2-level thing over here, right? So what we've got is right, so this is my grid. So my grid isn't actually instantiated at the moment. I feel like I should be sitting down for this. I feel like that this is like city down thinky work. Also, I'm really tired. That fucking title, that stream title is not a joke. Like, that is like 4 hours sleep max. Like, max. Where is it? Nap time. No, I can't, because if I nap, I'll never sleep tonight. And then you get into this whole thing. If I nap, I'll never sleep tonight, and then you get into this whole thing where I'm fucking, I'm supposed to be training to run a marathon, and we never get up to do it. Just one of those, like, one of those things, one of these things. Okay. Right, so what I need to do is, oh yeah, it's a half marathon. Hold on, let me find it. I can't find it. Oh, not E. Maybe it's worse, or maybe it's better. I don't know. It's a half marathon, but it's a half trail marathon. Here it is. So like this one. Information. So we're going to take an emergency. We're going to take an emergency pack with us. Not the one. Exterior Wellington Festival. That's the one. Of the events. So this one. This one. So this is like 210 meters elevation, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's like better or worse. Right. So I'm not sure if that's better or worse than a marathon. So yeah, you start here. Where do you start? I don't think that's where you start. But then you like run on the flat until here and then up this fucking hill. That's the highest point here. And then back down. One way or the other. Like one way or the other, you run back down. And then yeah, back out. And then you run like not along the beach, but along these dunes. So all of this shit here. Oh yeah, so you've got a bit along the beach. But these dunes are going to be like the most challenging part. Because they, like, it's 30 meters up and down, but they undulate, so you're gonna be breaking your running rhythm when you're doing that. But yeah, that's our half marathon. It's just been a bit of a disaster week. That's all. A lot done on Monday, but like, fucking neighbors are really shitty. I don't know that like. It should be estimated to be like 3 to 4 hours, I think. Like, because it's hard to say, because like a marathon is a bit different, because a marathon has rules about how high, like an official marathon has rules about how high you can go, like so the maximum elevation that you can go. But obviously with the trail, there's no rules. And Jeff, our trainer, he's already said that don't expect to be running up. Like even the professionals, even like actual racers, don't run up the hills. Like so on the steep bits, they don't actually run. They walk. But yeah, So it's just up the coast. It's like 25k north of us. So, and in fact, actually, let me find that. Hold on, where I live. Oh, no. So this, so you see this bit here? So this part here, so this is Titahi Bay. So this is where we went on Sunday, which is about 2 or 3k over that way. 2 or 3k to the west, sorry. And this bit that juts out here, so this is the area that we're going to be running in. So this is like, this is about 20k up the coast. So that's about Paika Kariki. Oh yeah, there it is. Just over that way. Oh. Okay. Look. Oh, that's not the best picture I could get. Like from the cliff tops. Like we went even higher. So that's about 30 meters from the top. So sorry, that's about 30 meters up the hills. Our actual elevation on Sunday was and find it. Our actual maximum elevation on Sunday was 138 meters. So that was like right to the top of the cliffs. Well, that's just giving you like the idea of the coastline. So it's a very fucking earthquake. It's very much earthquake. Like it's all just been like jutted out the sea. So lots of high flat fronted hills and stuff like that. I got a new bot as well. Did some script. Can do this as well. Hold on. Here you go. You should go for Val. You should go follow Val because he works on kind of production stuff. He's really good, exceptionally good. And he does art when he's well. But you should follow him so you're ready to go and watch him when he comes back. Here you go. They have like so what we're doing is right. Hold on. So let me show you this. So this is what we've been doing. So this is the code that hides. So this is the adrenaline object. So this is the code that hides and shows the boxes, like depending on that variable. It's not really warm this afternoon. I started off, had that hat on all day, and suddenly it just got really warm. And then we have more code. Hold on. So in our first person blueprint. So this is our first person blueprint. I'm going to change the timeout for that. Hold on. I'm just changing some settings in the bot. I just need to I just need to make sure that it don't appear at the same time if I can help it. So or 12. Here you go. Okay. The new bot's really cool as well. It does all kinds of tough stuff for like follows and subs and cheers and all the rest of it. So now I have all my stuff like local, rather than having to rely on stream elements. Right. Okay. So here we are. Right. This box. Right. See this box and these things here. Okay. So when we walk into this box in the original code, what will happen is like we have this adrenaline thing in the character. And the adrenaline will start counting down. So if I press play now and like walk into the world, so this is like what we're looking at, this little cube here. So when we walk into here, right, and then you'll see that that turns green. When it turns green, that means we're actually looking at something. And then you see the counter in the top left. And then if we're looking at something, then these items won't appear. So if they actually like appear in the field of vision, then they won't appear. Now the idea is that when we look away and then we look back, these items will reappear. But they don't do that right now, because I'm terrible at my job. Anyway, so what I have to do is, so first thing that I've got to do is I've got to fix that, right? Because I'd left it at some point and then I went away and did all of this shit. Did you see this shit, by the way? This shit's really cool. So that took like about 8 hours to like finalize all those floors and stuff like that. I've just got to like name the walls and stuff like that, but we have like a layout for our bunkers now. So there's like a layout for our bunkers. So these are our bunkers, so like accommodation block, and then we have like government departments and stuff like that for our underground bunker. So that's the government department blocks. And then on the top floor we have our like main floor. So this is like our operations and plotting room and stuff like that. Well, yeah, so that's like the way that they would have planned them out. And then I put in a ground, so we've got a ground outside. So this basic bitch fucking box here is my ground. And then what we're gonna have here, we're gonna have like an emergency entrance, like inside the accommodation block, so that if you know you get the warning, then these guys will be able to just go down here and get into the bunker. And then you have like another like formal entrance, so like a working entrance, which is in this kind of restricted area block over here. Yeah, but that's like, so that didn't take very long at all. I mean, I say it didn't take very long because it took a while to write the tools to do it. But I guess the idea is, you know, once you've written the fucking tools, you can just go for it, right? Once you've actually written the tools to do it, you can just build things really fast. And then we can just extrude this and like, you know, create walls. And then once we've done the walls, we can map onto UVs, which shouldn't be too hard, you know. And then once we've got the UVs on there, we can do procedural textures. We can either do them kind of inside Houdini itself, or we can use the oh yeah, because that's one of the cool things about this. We can actually use Unreal materials, so we can actually like create Unreal materials inside Houdini as well, and then drop them into Unreal. Or we can bring in a material from Substance Designer, and then we can drop that into there as well. There are some restrictions, so kind of like, you know, when you bring these in, they have to be, you can't bring in stuff like something that reminds that. So you can't bring in stuff like the really complex UV mapped materials that you have like on a character, because of these restrictions here. So you're basically limited to like hard modeling stuff. So you're basically limited to hard modeling stuff. But I think kind of as you've seen before when we've done the clown, what we can actually do is when we do the painting inside Substance Painter, we can still import that, but we imported those as like PNGs, so they were just like regular materials with PNG layers, so normal maps and the rest of it. But yeah, so we're going to be able to do all of that, like routing it through Houdini. Yeah, so here you go. So this is our bunker. Gonna make it like a really cool like little area. I've got like a whole bunch of ideas for it, because originally I wanted like this basement area that was down here, and it was gonna have some cool like audio visual stuff in it. But then I was looking at stuff someone sent me from a subreddit, and they had stuff from like abandoned nuclear bunkers in there, and it's just kind of like, well, why the fuck not? Like, why the fuck not? Did a bit of research. Turns out there's like hundreds of these fucking R3, R4 bunkers all over Britain, just that have been abandoned and just left alone. Some of them are still, you know, you're allowed into some of them and they've been restored and stuff like that, but a lot of them have not been restored because they were expensive to build and expensive to restore. A lot of them were maybe asbestos. A lot of them have been set on fire. A lot of them have been robbed for the materials that were inside them. So they've been like, thieves have come along and taken the stuff out of them. Yeah, all that stuff. But today I do have that open, but today I'm going to do this adrenaline object thing. So first things first, I've got two ones here. So this is the volume, right? So the volume doesn't actually do anything at the moment, because it's just kind of like a grid that contains these variables. So it just contains these parameters, and then I pull the parameters from the volume in the object. And so, right, so then we have like that one, too expensive, needs to change. Obviously needs to change. Obviously. So what it'll be, right, with these classes, what will happen is we'll like drag in the class over here, right? And then we'll have like an instance of this class over here. And then whenever you walk into or near any of these classes, your adrenaline will be affected in one way or another, depending on like what's happening in the world or whatever. The only problem is, like, if you want to do that, then you're gonna have to have, oh no, that's an object. So if you want to do this, then you're gonna have to have like hundreds of these fucking things just hanging around everywhere, right? You're gonna need like an object, a block inside a block inside a block, right? Because these contain the data for, so these contain some data for how the characters are going to be affected, for how your character is going to be affected by the environment. So in this case, when you walk into here, so when you walk into this adrenaline volume thing over here, yeah, delete that. When you walk into this adrenaline volume thing over here, it's programmed so that you can see it. Right, so it's programmed that it's got this thing called adrenaline attrition rate. Oh. So it's programmed to got this adrenaline attrition rate, right? And that basically, that one equates to every second that the character is inside the volume, her adrenaline will drop by 1. Hence this. So hence this is what happens. So Alison walks into this, and then you can see at the top left there, her adrenaline drops. So the number that you can see up there is her adrenaline. Is her adrenaline. Right. So just want to check and see if these things actually appear, because I noticed an error that was there before. So when I walk out of the volume, like it restarts. So when yeah, which shouldn't happen. So I think I've connected something up wrong. Basically, if I turn around now, oh, you saw it there. Hold on, I'll do that again. Double check just to make sure that I wasn't seeing things. Right. So there you go. So that is our cube, right? But the only problem is it's supposed to, right, so they disappear when you look at them, which is not how it's supposed to work, but not quite. So the first thing that I've noticed is that when you walk out of the volume, it should be in character. So when you walk out the volume, it keeps counting down, but it doesn't reset. So you're supposed to have a thing reset when she walks out of the volume. So untick, get all actors of class. Should actually be on overlap, right? So there you go. Doing the end overlap, right? So this is the code that counts down when you walk in there, which is obviously working. So what she's saying is that when she walks into here, then we get the object that we'll get the object that she has overlapped, which is the adrenaline volume. So this object should need to be fixed. Hold on. So I'm just going to put a comment in here. So it's the actor event overlap here should only be valid for the adrenaline volume. Okay. Whereas right now it just happens if you just overlap any actor, right? So it just gets that other actor. And then what we can do actually is we can do stuff like, for example, if we pull the event off here, then we can check for equality. So we can make sure, for example, that this will always equal BP adrenaline volume. Can we do that? Is that recursive? That might be recursive. Yeah, that might be recursive. Because if it pulls out that, so this cast, what am I doing here? Here you go. I'm just getting used to it again. I shouldn't really take like a week off it. Like I should be doing it at least 2 or 3 times a week, but I've actually taken a week off it. And that's no good. So this needs to cast a BP adrenaline volume, and then if it's failed, it should do nothing. We end overlap. So it should only be cast the BP adrenaline volume. So if we hook that up to here, here you go. And then we're going to say, I think we need to do anything else. So only if the other actor is able to cast to that, should that then be able to move off. So I did put other code in, and the other code that I've put in deals with overlapping actors again. So that might be the one that's like interfering with it. So when I walk out of it, it resets it, but it keeps counting down. So the only thing that's controlling this countdown is this part, right? End overlap, and then so the only thing that should be able to control this here, this adrenaline variable inside here, is this class. So no other class should be able to, they should be able to read the data, but they shouldn't be able to change the data. So we got here, event begin overlap cast to BP adrenaline volume. And then we say is overlapping actor. We have another boolean here that we check is overlapping. So is overlapping, this gets sent out to a different class. And then if it is overlapping, so if that's true, then we hit this, set the adrenaline, and what we're doing is we have the adrenaline volume attrition rate, which is 1. We have the current adrenaline, we subtract that from that, and then we set the adrenaline to be that, and then we print it out to the screen, and then we wait a second, and then we come back down to here. So don't think there's an escape from this. It should kind of like end, but I don't think there's actually an escape from this. If I say false, So I mean, if it says false, right? If it's not overlapping anymore, then it should stop counting. But it's not doing it. What else do I have? Nothing in there. Clearly something wrong in here. BP control and volume. So I'm telling that to ignore it. Making up your just world dynamic object. Gonna break it out like that. We got a set. Has to be for drawing volume. We're gonna set is overlapping. Maybe I don't need that. Hold on. Okay. Put those. Get out of it. Windows updates. I mean, it was stopping before, but now it's not stopping. So what have I changed? To the actor end overlap. So she moves out of the way. Then it resets to 100. I don't think we're I don't think I'm moving away. I don't think like this part here has had something change, but I don't think it's actually stopping. Let me put that a different way. I don't think it's stopping because I don't think it's doing any more checks. So as soon as actor and overlaps happen, then all of this should stop, right? So this chain of events here, stop. Unless one of the issues that I'm having It is not. So I was like, unless one of the issues that I'm having is here. So I was like, unless one of the issues that I'm having is that this somehow, like ignoring that, has an effect on the overlap. But I'm 100% sure, well, 99.9 anyway, that this part here is what's causing me the problems. So begins the overlap, pass through adrenaline volume, and then we set is overlapping. So start removing bits of code. So because this part here is the part that I'm pretty sure is relatively new. So I mean, now it still keeps counting. What did I do? Oh, it's a disaster. What did I do? Right, there you go. That was what. Right, so that works now. Hold on. So this is overlapping. So if I drop in that is overlapping, because I need that. Right, so if I drop in this is overlapping, right? So that the problem was, or is that is overlapping is not being reset. So the is overlapping was not being reset. So yeah, so when we came through to here, so when we did all of this shit here, then is overlapping was the variable that's deciding at this point whether or not, yeah, the overlapping is true. So it never gets reset, but down over here, if we set is overlapping, do that down here. We set is overlapping down here to be this. Be negative. Hopefully this will work. Because I need that is overlapping for right, so that works now. So I need that is overlapping for another class. Right? And the other class that I need it for is where are we? This one. So this is the object. So this is like where the bulk of the work is actually getting done. As you can actually see, the bulk of the work is getting done over here. And we'd used like a few tricks. So the one that was trying to solve, like, was it last week? I can't remember. I think it was last week anyway. I think it was like early. I think it was early last week. I don't know. So the one that was trying to solve early last week was that I needed a way for my spawn, right? So these objects have to be invisible when they're spawned in the world, but visible after a certain point. But if you just like, if you destroy them, then you can't have them in the scene at all. But if you only not render them, so if you only make them invisible to the renderer, then that doesn't work either, because only making them invisible was inside this object, inside the actual object here. There you go. We have these. This is my rendering setting. We have all our collision settings. So they have Cube itself as these collision settings. So we make them world dynamic, and then we individually set these collision settings so that we ignore all of like these. So we ignore all of these things, but we make them block visibility and we make them block camera. So when we do our trace, like our raycast, we walk into the volume and you can actually see that that is currently hitting the cube. And if it's hitting the cube, then the cube won't appear because it thinks that the cube's in the field of vision. Right? So the sphere appeared because it didn't think the sphere was in the field of vision, but they still do actually exist like in the world. And then if we look at one side, then they don't exist. But when that cube turns green, then it hits them. But we can still walk through them and the rest of it. But yeah. So that's why I needed the is overlapping. We know that Twitch now has, well, Twitch has a, not now, but like, I need to get our website up as well. So I know that Twitch has like a game developer global tag, and I want it. Because I'm not doing all this for like, I mean, I'm not getting paid, so like, but I want it, like, because I'm doing it. And I feel like if I'm doing it, I deserve that global badge. Because it's better than a Prime badge. Makes people go, oh, what's that? And then fucking click on it, right? And then we can start moving like forward with putting the game on places and things like that. We have grid of cubes and active it's not right, so we can ignore that for now. So I think I'm going to try and get this to reappear and appear when I need it to. Right, so we always spawn. So where are we? So if we go back to the main, so I'm going to drop I'll drop a new object in there. So this is the object that I'm going to drop in there. This is going to be, so come over here and then I'm going to add a geometry to this. Where are we? So it'll be a cone. So we're going to add a cone to this. And then I'm going to set my cone to be world dynamic. So custom for world dynamic. So what I'm going to do as well in C++, because this is going to be like a core class, I'm actually going to write this object type because you know it's not normal. So like that object type. And then inside here, I should have. Hold on. Right, so inside here, I should have an ADR limit. And if I set my ADR limit then to be like 85. And you'll see that we've got other ones down here as well. So I have like ADR object rate 2. So if I set that to be -1 when you enter the proximity of an object or you pick up an object, then that means that the adrenaline won't actually go down. We can have that like dynamically change as well. Save all, go. So all of these are in the volume. And then when I walk in, like, these should just appear when I need them to. So if I look away, then these should all appear. By the time this hits 85, if I turn around very carefully, you're going to be able to see, like, things have appeared. Oh, no. Oh, it's all gone tits up. And it's the. Okay. Let's figure this mess out. We have this on event tick, and then we say get actor of class, but we're always going to be looking for the same actor, right? Get interface class, set interface class, get bound. So that's a sequencer. Have some casting. Cat gets up and wanders away. Get object name. You do something. What are you doing? Could you do something, please? You okay? Hey? Okay. Oh. You have a bedroom? You had a bedroom. You have a bedroom? That's where you got up and you're looking confused. You come over and you say, meow, meow. Meow, for the day is long and I am tired and old. He's 18 now, aren't you? All 18. All grown up. He can't vote yet, although, you know, he'd probably make a more informed choice than most voters. Look at you. Little disaster. Look at you. You disaster. Cat break. I'm purring like a monster. He's so purring. Oh. Look at him. So hidden. Like he gets so relaxed and then just like drops below the camera. But he loves the camera. Like anyone that gets a camera out, he's kind of like, hey, look at me. Take photos of me. "18, hey? 18 years old. Oh, I didn't know this was going to be such a long-term commitment. I don't think I ever would have done it. Hey. Be gone by now. We'd have like 3 other new cats. Up with the loss to replace you. You need so many cats just to replace you. Okay. Good boy. Oh. Okay. Spawn active class. Not what we need. Don't do that on tick. So we see like get object. Turn off the type element interface. Where are we? Right, so that's AI, don't need that. AR, manager, 3. What are we looking at? Nope. So, I'm gonna say, like, if I can get like the is overlapping variable out here. Yeah, I mean, because it's a cast, right? Talking about like a custom event. So actually, hey buddy, we're actually talking about a custom event. Yep. So there's 2 ways that we was thinking around it, right? So custom event and the custom event would be like this character entering this volume, right? Okay. The other ways where we would have. So the other ways around it would be that we have like a bigger box, like a bigger collision box. But afterwards reading the API, hey Demon, how you doing? Afterwards reading the API, I was like, well, they don't recommend that in the API because the bigger your box, like that tells you how near something you are, the more resources it takes up. So I'd rather do this with the fucking volume. I haven't seen you in a while, Damon. How are you? I'm doing okay. I've got a cat on me. Look at my boy. Look at my boy here. He's 18. Just turned 18 now. He's 18 years old. Look how floppy and old he is. Oh yeah, still working on the game. Still working on the game. Do you want to see the extensions of the environment that we've done? I'll show you those if you. I've got. Oh my god, massive claws in my arm. There we go. So this week we built a bunker. So now we have like this underground bunker down here. We're gonna have like the entire game environment up here. Because it occurred to me that like even though like these areas are pretty big, they're actually just there for wow factor. Like there's not much to do in these areas. So the main areas that things are gonna happen in will be like here in these lower rooms here. The library here, which is basically one big area. Then we have these accommodation area here. This area here. But effectively, yeah, so there aren't many that big areas. So I built a bunker. Like I built a secret underground bunker, like a nuclear bunker kind of thing. After doing a bit of research anyway. So this is what this area is, and we're gonna have some tunnels that go like from there down to here. So today I'm back on these gameplay systems. Oop. So today I'm back on these gameplay systems. Yeah, and what we'll need to do. So what I need to do is, I need a drink in a second. I'm covered in cat right now. I feel like I need to get him a little chair to like sit next to, because that's ergonomic, right? That's not going to give me that's not going to hurt me after a while, is it? So now, this like adrenaline, so this all works, like, hold on. So this all works, kind of like, they're not spawned at the start. Hi Sir Dies a lot. How are you? So these are all spawned at the start, right? Sorry, they're not spawned at the start. And then if I'm looking at them, they don't appear. Oh, thank you for the follow. IO Web? Did I say that right? IO Web. I'll call you Web. So these. Oh, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Not much sleep. IO Web. Hi, IO Web. Nice to meet you. Web. Cool. Okay. Cool, Web. I've just got a cat on me. I'm not doing anything nefarious down here. I'm not doing anything against Toss down here. This is my elderly cat. Yeah, he's turned 18 and kidney disease and everything like that, but he's still going strong. He's got a few years left in him, I think. So, yeah, we are, aren't we? You do have a few years left in you, don't you? Hey? With all your blood pressure medication, costs us more in vet visits than we get in doctor visits, don't you? So what I'm doing is, yeah, I've got this adrenaline volume system, right? So you want to see this. I walk into here, and at the top left, you can see that number counting down. So I call this the adrenaline, and what will happen is, the objects that are in here, that you can see that are marked out by the green, so the collision area is marked out by the green. When I'm not looking at the objects, they should appear. So if I step out of here, I don't think the resetting, I think I need to restart the actual, play. He's still as pushy as he was when he was fucking 6 months old, I'll tell you that much. Right, and then if I turn around now, what? You should be able to see. Oh no, they appear down this line anyway. So this shadow is where they appear. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going through this. to try and figure out what I actually need to do. What I actually need to do to get these objects to not appear when I'm not looking at them, but appear when I'm looking at them, and then stay appeared once they've been looked at. But it's been a week since I looked at this because I was doing all of this shenanigans down here. 2:20 p.m. in Wellington. So if you just give me 2 seconds, I need some more caffeine. Right, one, you can go back on your bed. Oh. Seconds while I get caffeine. in earnest. And you know, the things that I'm good at, building procedural stuff, the tech artist stuff, so like programming and stuff like that, making things look good with very few resources. Making things look good with very few resources. Doing these kind of links over here. So let me show you this as well. So we use the reason that I use Houdini is because it has Houdini engine inside of it. And we can, if we're working on like a big scale environment like this, which is what I really wanted to do, then it was important to be able to get that into Unreal Engine as fast as possible without having to load in FBX files and the rest of it, or do it in a modular way. So if we do it like this, let me just give it a sec. So if I do it like this, then I can link, then we can use Houdini Engine. I'll come back over here. I'll just make sure that I've got a collision, game engine collision there, and then an output. So if I do it like this, we can iterate really fast. So I can be in the environment, I can see the changes. We can apply the Unreal Engine materials inside of Houdini as well, so that we can get it through really fast. And if it doesn't look right, if there's problems with any maps or anything like that, problems with any baking, or you know, all that kind of really horrible stuff that can really take out time when you're working with these big environments, then we can deal with that really quickly. So I'm just going to save this. So we save this as a digital asset. Hold on, overwrite. And apply, set. And I'll come back over to Unreal Engine. So this is the environment that you see there. And I've just added the garden in as well. So the garden, like the garden block, the bottom part wasn't actually in there. Kitty's name is Loki. Wherever he's gone. Might be sitting by his bowl. Hold on. So I've got it connected to Houdini Engine right now. And then all I need to do is that this is my entire Houdini model. I'm just going to recook this. And then we're just going to wait for it to recook. Got a fish named Loki. What kind of fish? It's a good name. He is cheeky like Loki. That's a good part. He's also big. Like, he's also like a big kitty. Right, okay, and then I'm just gonna come down here. I'm gonna say, it's gonna be visible. It's not hidden in game. And then we hit play. Cool. And then we get to like wander around, like in the environment, and check it for scale and all that kind of stuff. And obviously we can make changes, you know, pretty fast. All of the things that you see inside this game as well. So these all have unique references. So that if we do make a change, then all of these things we can, you know, detail them or whatever if we want to make the change. Now this door is blocked off because I've moved some of the environment around. But yeah, that's the reason that we're doing it like this. Knowing Houdini was a great start. But the other part about using Houdini is that we've got a built-in FX suite as well. All about doing as much as we can with as little as possible, really. Yeah, if it was a smaller game, like, there wouldn't be much use for it. If it didn't rely on kind of like all of this, but knowing how to use it was like a big leverage sort of thing. Knowing how to like code and like write this stuff. All of this stuff that you see here, where are we? So in accommodation. So if I'm in the accommodation plant here, so I wrote the nodes that create these walls and doors. So this is all like these are all the custom code and the custom nodes that I've written here. And there's actually some. So it has its own internal language too called Vex. You can find the corridor. There it is. So it has its own internal language too called Vex. Here you go. So this is Vex, which basically is a custom-built language that's faster than C++ inside for its purpose. So you can write nodes in C++ or Python, but they recommend that you write them in Vex because Vex it's specifically written to manipulate geometry and points and the rest of it. Is it going to have lore? Yeah, it is going to have lore. It's got a whole lot of lore based across the time that people have spent in this world. New project starting dev soon is an adaptation of a novel you wrote, and that novel's getting published. Oh wow! Only as an ebook, there's demand for limited print. That's still awesome. Like, best to have the backing of a publisher, right? Nice. I don't buy print books anymore. I still read, but I just don't buy print books. Let's have a look at your game. Let's carry on looking at your game. Not that one. Yeah. Trapped in the descent, anonymous ever-changing pit where their only choice is to descend deeper. Throttle the options downwards, trio left. With no choice but to resurface when the provisions run thin. Soldier's Descent is a turn-based RPG with shooter elements. You have to manage your ammo. Weapon doesn't deal damage, the ammo does. It's just medium for accuracy and which you can send down range. Oh, okay. As like a what if, because back in the RPGs on the N64. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, we got a tech demo as well. I'm gonna check that out. Hold on. Cool. I'm gonna check that out later. Thank you for that. I love seeing other people's work. It's awesome. So the thing that I figured out that I was bad at was like animation. Not very good at that. So by keeping it like as first person as possible, so animation and rigging and all that stuff. So by keeping it like as first person as possible, we could concentrate on what I'm actually good at, which is making the puzzles and making the environment, and hopefully writing. Like, team's also increasing to around 5 people for the new project, Elysia Chasms of Terror. Oh. Now Shark is a symbol of the channel. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, because, you know, sharks also have fins. So, yeah. I did the eagle, but, I mean, it wasn't that I was bored of the eagle. It's just that I've got limited time lately. And if you'll notice, I haven't actually done any ZBrush stuff in a few weeks. It's been all of this stuff, because I really want to, like, push on with this. Editing help from a university professor as a PhD in English literature. Oh, there's someone who knows what Warhammer 40k is. Yeah, I know what Warhammer 40k is. I grew up like with the models and like playing it on tabletops and painting the models. Who doesn't know what Warhammer 40k is? I'm gonna bookmark you. You mean the actual game? Oh, some figures. There's a new game coming out as well. Right, so I'm gonna minimize you. So this part of the thing is, so this part of the game is, right, what I've decided to do to pace out our gameplay. What have I decided to do? So to pace out our gameplay and kind of like emulate kind of fear and uncertainty and the rest of it, we decided to have this thing called an adrenaline system. And basically your location, your proximity to objects, and your previous encounters inside the buildings, they all contribute to how high or low your adrenaline might be. And when your adrenaline, just in the very basic example, when your adrenaline's too low, when your adrenaline's too high, you're not going to be able to see you're not going to be able to see or find certain objects that are key to advancing the story. So we're going to make you kind of like explore the environment a bit more, simply by like restricting what you can actually see while letting you go wherever you want. So if you want to go, you're not going to be able to see much. So you might be able to get like a feel for the environment at first, but you're not actually going to be able to see a lot of things that are going to help you gameplay like that. And then as you become more comfortable in the areas that you're supposed to be in, as you become more comfortable with the lore and the rest of it, so as you advance your actual story through the game, then we're going to be you're going to be able to see more and more of the things. You're going to be able to interact with more things that you never knew that were there before. You did say after games editing comments, if I didn't, I would have thought an English major wrote this. Hey, I'm an English major. True story. We did American Studies and Communications. Oof. I spent 8 years at university. 8 years. Three blades. Three blades? You have to explain that one, Demon. Okay, where was I? Yep, so this is part of the adrenaline system as you kind of like walk through this class. What inspired you to make this game? I don't know if you've heard of these like these Cold War relics, these number stations. So number stations, for anyone who doesn't know, number stations are long wave radio stations on like weird places in the frequency that just are at certain times of the day, they just read out numbers. They have like a preamble and then they read out a bunch of numbers, and the preamble is usually a song. So one of the most famous number stations, and they were supposed to be, well, no one's ever confirmed or denied it anyway, but people think that they are devices for getting instructions out to foreign agents, so agents in foreign countries, spies. But they are like really creepy to hear. One of the most famous ones is called the Lincolnshire Poacher, and it's a British number station, and it's gone out of service now. But basically, yeah, it's one of those things you're gonna have to go. So they So it ran from the mid-60s until June 2008, and yeah, so it uses the bars from the Lincolnshire Poacher as an interval signal. So they'd play on long wave, on shortwave or long wave radio, and they would play this interval signal, and then they would read out a bunch of numbers, and then the interval signal will play again, and then it will be over. And everyone used them, so there's like a whole bunch of varieties. But if I stop Pretzel for a second, if I stop Pretzel, the desktop on.
Zero, two, five, 8, 8. 0, 2, 5, 8, 8.
They made a movie out of it as well. A movie that was related to it as well. But yeah, I've always it sounds creepy as fuck, hey. And I really like it. But the idea is like there's loads of these different types of number stations, and some of them even put out like data. So some of the Russian ones put out data signals over the air, and they're still in operation as well. But yeah, our idea was kind of like if you find yourself in an unfamiliar place and you start getting these signals along the radios that are there, what can we make out of this? Yeah, but that's the idea. And so our protagonist gets herself like trapped in this mansion, which is in the middle of the countryside. So in Britain, these things are all over the place, like dilapidated mansions as well are all over the place. So the idea is that this place was taken taken over by the military in around World War One. Was used for various reasons until like the mid 1970s. And a lot of stuff happened here that's like left like that kind of I don't know. I don't believe in ghosts. Let's put it this way, but it's left like a spiritual legacy, and there's other things that are around you. Some things want you to stay, and other things want you to free them. And you're gonna have to figure out a way to communicate with these things because they can't really communicate with you except by the way that they knew during their lifetime. So this whole thing was like a giant code breaking bunker base kind of thing. And just this last week, it was kind of, I wanted a basement area where things would be stored. But then we did a bit of research into these areas. So we did a bit of research into what was found here, and then we found out the existence of these things in Britain. They call R3 and R4 bunkers. So these were like 3 or 4 floor nuclear bunkers that were underground in various places. There is a lot of them. A lot of them are dilapidated now. But yeah, they would build these as Royal Ordnance Corps, sort of for tracking nuclear fallout and stuff like that. And so over the past couple of days, I've just been building up like this bunker here that's based off a few plans. It'd be great in some area there'd be a body of a dead person that's the body of the Phantom. I mean, I don't want to. Hi Fabius. I don't want to drop too much because everything I say about the story might be a spoiler. But I mean, hopefully before 2023, we'll have a Steam page up. We'll definitely have the website up before the end of November. Before 2023, before the end of the year, we should have the Steam. My partner Karen, she's moving to another position, so she's gonna have way more time to actually work on this right now, because right now she's got quite a demanding position. But she's moving. Well, she's not moving. She's just changing jobs within the organization. So she's just moving to a different job within the same organization. It's going to be like less demanding. But yeah, first things first, first thing that we need to do is put together a tech demo. So like these 3 areas here, this is a concert room, lobby, ballroom. So these 3 areas here with like minor puzzles and stuff like that is that we can flesh out these in detail, which, you know, as every schoolboy knows, like doing the graphics and the detail will be the last thing. But what I actually need to do is actually need to demonstrate how feasible this is and how much we can do with very little, before we kind of push this tech demo out with like the minor puzzle and the adrenaline system working and stuff like that. Because I've demonstrated to myself that this stuff works. So all of this procedural stuff works. There's no roofs on them right now, but I do have a procedural generator for roofs as well. So I wrote that a while ago, and that can generate a whole bunch of different types of roofs and stuff like that. But yeah, and we can also buy some art into. Needs to be some windows and stuff put in here, so these windows are all done like that. But yeah, just need to do some detailing, like stuff that I'll do off stream, like sticking windows in and renaming things and the rest of it. But yeah, this part of it is kind of really important. Stained glass on chapel, exactly. Stained glass on the chapel. and stained glass windows on the roof of the library as well. And obviously we've talked about this as well, Fabius, with the idea of external lighting. So the idea that like if she's not in the real world but she's not quite dead, then we can play with lighting, doing stuff like stained glass and shining through. We'll see how far we can go with ray tracing as well. Clearly ray tracing is going to be cheaper from baking and fucking light map and lighting perspective, but not everyone can handle ray tracing, so it's not really like it's an additional thing whether or not we actually do the ray tracing part. It's not turned on now in the project anyway. Would it be just one player or it would be 2-player mode? No, it's just one player. Exactly. I mean, even it is on consoles, but like it is on consoles. It's technically supposed to be easier to do, but you've still got to do light maps. You've still got to do the rasterized stuff. So is it worth like putting the effort into doing ray tracing if you've still got to do the other one anyway? Main target is for the Switch. The main hardware you target is the Switch. Yeah, I think our main target is going to be Xbox, like last gen Xbox and PS4. So if it runs at 30 frames per second on those, no understanding what you guys are talking about. I mean, also like our issue with builds and stuff like that is also that this is all kind of like I'm not 100% sure how I would build this for the Switch, because everything I know is like building for X64. So and I'm not sure how, like, I don't know, like it doesn't strike me as there's many games with the it doesn't strike me that there's many games with what we have planned, with the kind of textures that we have planned and the rest of it, that are like this on the Switch, that run particularly well. And I don't want to stick it on a platform that it's not going to work properly on. I'm not even that comfortable with 30 frames per second on the old on the older generation consoles, to be honest, but I'm concentrating on PC just for now. Having said that, like everything that I'm doing right now, I'm looking at performance first. Like I need to build it from the ground up with performance in mind, because otherwise, you get to that certain point, don't you? And then it's just fucked. Like you've gone too far down a band-aid route. The one you're modeling in Blender is about 3.2 square miles. Oh. Wow. Can you do so one of the other reasons from Houdini is that we can have you can do terrain effects, so we can generate a lot of this terrain effect stuff as well inside Houdini. And the other one for Unreal 5 as well is that the size of the maps with the new world partition system can be absolutely huge too. Natural terrain, so it's easier than a more urban setting. Yeah. I mean, if you can leave it to run, right? As long as you don't have any like person-shaped holes in the environment, or you can climb or fly out of them. I still remember Mass Effect, like the very first Mass Effect game back in like 2007, with its planets full of person-shaped holes that you couldn't get out of. That wasn't frustrating at all. Well, give me a sec. I just want to make sure that the cat's going to be fed. Yeah, he's lying in the sun in the hallway. Setting of the world is entirely composed of gigantic chasms, so there's always a visible barrier and plot reasons to keep the game linear. Oh. I was doing like, speaking of environment, doing like some experimenting with like trying to get GIS maps, in particular the ones from Mars, and seeing if we can import them into Houdini and effectively just like create Mars and see if we can get people walking around on Mars. I was doing that like at the end of last year before we started this. I didn't get very far. I did it for like a few days. It looks possible. Like I even signed up to that. In order to actually get the GIS data from NASA, you had to sign up and give them a reason why you wanted it. So I've got access to the GIS data. But it's just a case of like, where are we? I mean, because I'm going to do this for the actual environment anyway. There's geometry, hold on. You bring in like your height field. That's like your height field. And then you have like a bunch of procedural nodes that you drop in after that. So that's not actually a geometry yet. That's just like a series of points. And then you just add your procedural stuff afterwards. So for example, that. So that's our moonscape. So then you just got to figure out how all of those nodes actually work. Well, they will give you that, like, and that's not actually, so that's not geometry yet. And then you've got to convert that to geometry. So if I flick to points, so right now the points should be showing on my model, but there are no points yet. So then you just convert that to the points or whatever. And stuff like volcanoes and stuff like that. The environments in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West were made in Houdini as well. So they use that stuff to make those environments. And the rivers and stuff like that. So you can do... So where are we? Hold on. Let's do the volcano. So let's do the mountain. Right, so if we do the mountain, this slider at the bottom, so this is like erosion, and you can set to erode. You can set like how much you're going to erode and kind of like how much water you're going to drop down there and the rest of it to physically erode it over a period of years. So you can have it rise out the ground, like you can have the volcano or mountain rise out the ground through tectonic movements and then slowly be eroded over the years by weather as well. So you can set like whichever weather that you need as well. Yeah, so hydro erosion, thermal erosion, precipitation, water flow, and debris flow. So how much rocks have like fallen down, the rest of it as well. Which is kind of, I mean, considering I literally only bought it for the modeling. The fact that you get all of that other stuff inside it as well is super impressive. And they set it up for you as well. So They never used to. Like back in version 16, 16.5, they never used to do that. Sticking with 540 to 720 textures, backlighting, and 6,000 to 8,000 polys per character model. Is that specifically because you're targeting Switch? I haven't used Unity in a long time. And when I did use Unity, it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't particularly, I won't say it wasn't particularly good, it wasn't particularly fruitful for me. Generally going for more cell shading will be a post-processing effect, right? Okay. I've just been so tired today. I mean, that 4 hours thing is not a joke. I'm not trying to be funny. 3D watercolor painting. That's very cool. I can appreciate that kind of stuff. Oh. Okay. So it should flip out now. Cool. Alright. 3 o'clock. Let's do this. Okay. What are we looking at? We can get active class. I'm desperately wanting to change this as well. So this like does it on tick. And that basically means that it iterates through all of the classes in the world. It sticks all of the classes in the world in a structure, in a data structure, and then iterates through them all until it reaches this, and then iterates through all of the classes, and it does that every tick as well. So however many frames per second. So currently in the setup here, it's 120 times a second it does that. That's not acceptable. So once we've done that, so some things like being pinpointed to be stuck into C++ classes as well. And then once we've got the actor, so we should really be casting. So once we've got the actor, we check this is overlapping value, and we check to see if that is true or false. So if we're not overlapping, then the actor will be hidden. And then we hit a retriggable delay, which is kind of like a basic bitch loop. It comes back to the start and double checks until we get the is overlapping. So is overlapping, that actually comes from over here. So that's first person character variable, and that says is the first person character has entered this volume here. And then if it is overlapping, then we do a check on the adrenaline. So then we say if the adrenaline level of the character is lower than the adrenaline limit of the object, we come over here to the branch. If it's true, if it is lower, then we do some more checks. So because we have like multiple objects, so we have multiple objects in the scene, and each one has a different adrenaline limit. So in this particular one, what it'll do is it will pull out all of those objects in the limit that meet that criteria, which is the adrenaline object class that we've written, into an array. It'll loop over the array. It will check to see if that is the current object that we've instantiated. So it'll check to see if the class is the current instance of the object. And if it is a match, then we break the loop and then we show the object. So at this point, right, where are we? So at this point, what happens is if I walk into this environment, so they are invisible and they're supposed to be invisible. If I walk into this environment and just wait, okay. Right, so now I'm counting down, and when I hit 95, the cube will appear, and when I hit 90, the sphere will appear, and when I hit 85, cat just arrived, the cone will appear. Now, if I'm looking at the current state of the code means if I'm looking at the cube, I won't be able to see it. But if I can like sneak in with my trace. Hold on. I can actually like sneak in with my trace and should be able to see. So there it is. So there's the cube, right? And then a bit further over, you're going to see the sphere and then the cone over there. So when I actually look at the cone, it'll disappear. And when I actually look at the sphere, that'll disappear. And then when I look at that, that'll disappear too. So that's working like as intended, but the other way around. Right? Poly count won't also be super noticeable due to the stylization. It will save dev time. Oh, we would rather have higher quality rigging animations than a high poly count. Absolutely. Like, I don't think anyone really expects an indie dev to be able to do that stuff. And like even when like a AAA studio does that stuff, they still get a load of shit for it. So